I would like to inquire if you are available to discuss Asian women. Is it just me, or do they appear to be more amorously active than other women? In the case of racial hypergamy, it would make more sense for them to pursue Chinese American men and Indian men because they are currently employed in higher-paying jobs. However, based on my observations, they continue to stick with only Caucasian men. In addition, I have yet to see an Asian woman date a handsome white man in any way. Even more bizarre is the fact that all of the white men I've seen dating Asian women in the United States are almost as poor as people of color around me. They always seem to settle down with Caucasians at the bottom of the scale in terms of appearance. Thank you for clarifying this for level 2 MGTOW like myself, which is great and wise. Well, there are a lot of different reasons why Asian women like Caucasian men. Social standing, in my opinion, is the primary and most significant factor. If they get married and have children with this man, her children are more likely to be accepted by white people, and Asian women are also more likely to be accepted because of those kids. Positive eugenics is also being practiced by Asian women. In a sense, they are reproducing with men they believe to have advantageous genetic traits. In this instance, they think Caucasian men are good people and probably think they are in a higher social class. Regardless of your perspective, the majority of white Europeans either civilized or brutally conquered the world. Asian women appear to simultaneously have an idealized view of Caucasian men, even though everyone in Western society criticizes Caucasian men. Additionally, I am aware of the peculiar circumstances. As I mentioned earlier, Asian women gain status by marrying and having children with such men, which expands their social networks and opportunities for themselves and their children. White men suffer the same treatment from other cultures. Latin is one of those, though to a lesser extent. Women of color are also a part of this, and the best examples of this kind of status based on skin color can be found in places like Brazil and other South American nations, where people frequently appear to have more social value based on the color of their skin than on the person they are. Because they are mixed, most Caucasian men who have children with women of other races don't usually worry about their children's lineage. Children will still be able to meet people with lighter skin tones, and they are much more likely to be socially accepted by more people. Asian women and women in general place a high value on social status. When poor, unattractive white men are seen with Asian women, their priority is to find a man who can give them children that will raise their social status. But what if you're a successful white man who is attractive? In that particular instance, what is your available pool of Asian women? There are a few tall, successful white men I know who married wealthy Asian women. While one man works as an underwater diver for oil drilling companies, the other runs a successful military contractor business. Both have excellent salaries, come from military and engineering backgrounds, and are frequently physically strong. They are both stunning to look at and tall and thin, and both of the married Asian women have successful careers and are tall and thin. They run for fun every day. However, these women would be far more demanding than their current wives if they had chosen to marry Caucasian women with characteristics comparable to those of their Asian wives. Even though their relationships with these Asian brides aren't perfect, they're still together after a few decades because they keep improving their families' lifestyles. From year to year, their wives enjoy greater material wealth. As a result, the marriages are relatively stable. However, I frequently wonder what would happen if the business were to suffer for a few years. Negative emotions are felt by humans 3 times more frequently than positive ones. Therefore, even if you had amazing positive experiences throughout your life, the downside is that your mind may overreact to even the slightest negative feeling. Nevertheless, I believe that Asian women's desire for status is one of the primary reasons they date and marry white men. But you should never, ever say that an Asian woman is doing it for that reason. Women imitate virtue in others, and if you find out their secrets as a man, they rarely like it. I thought it was because they wanted to keep the manipulations a trade secret and men losing their ability to manipulate each other that they didn't want men to know their secrets. Women are not intentionally deceived or manipulated. Most of the time, it's second or even first nature. It's not like women care in either scenario. If men are aware of their deeds, women dread confronting and comprehending their own deceitful and manipulative natures above all else. Every time a woman is pressured, compelled, or forced to admit her predatory and self-serving nature, she will lash out like an animal caught in a tight spot. Women and everyone else face an existential threat if gynocentrism is exposed to the public, who has based their identity on a false assumption that women are morally and inherently better than men. One definition of gynocentrism. Therefore, even if the response to MGTOW appears to be overly negative, it is not at all overly so, because it is a sign of a woman's imminent existential crisis. I appreciate your thoughtful comments, which provide the most insight into female nature I've encountered in a long time. Therefore, I decided to make them available to everyone. I believe that the majority of Asian women are consciously aware that they are attempting to increase the status of both themselves and their future children. So this comment also pertains to Asian women marrying white men. Additionally, if we inform them of this concept, it may cause them to experience an existential crisis. However, I don't see anything wrong with MGTOW causing women to experience an existential crisis. Men's existential crisis has been exacerbated by the female movement, so it stands to reason that we should do the same for women. Being a man who wants a family and a relationship has become unsafe and unpopular as a result of the feminist movement. And I believe it is time that we repay that favor once more. Instead of trying to hide her true nature, I believe a woman should see it every time she looks in the mirror. Men have been raised to believe that monsters look back at them from behind the mirror. However, women must change their perception of goddesses and devas. However, returning to the subject of biracial children born to Asian women and Caucasian men, I believe that mixed children born to such couples have numerous advantages over pure biracial children. You also ask why poor Asian women frequently choose to marry poor Asian men. By now, the answer should be clear. The Asian lady, assuming that she's poor, could in any case see the unfortunate Caucasian man. However, she might also be aware, either consciously or unconsciously, of the possibility that having children with him, and as a result, sharing their genes, could provide her children with new opportunities and social networks. And that is simply how I see it. I know a lot of men from Eastern Europe who got married to women from the Philippines. These women are accepted in their communities, usually get better jobs, and their social status goes up over women who got married to men from Asian backgrounds. I hope that clarifies things for you.